Hey all, welcome to Texas. Well, needless to say, things don't always go as planned. I wanted to introduce you to Officer Lee Reynolds, but our introduction didn't quite go as I had expected. I was actually subject to the evil actions of Officer Reynolds, and long story short, I shot him. Well deserved, I assure you, but I doubt his fellow officers see it that way, so I've got to keep moving. But I just wanted to pull over for a few moments and let you know what was going on. See, Officer Reynolds, with the assistance of the DA, is engaged in what is literally highway robbery. So here's how it went down for me. I was driving along the highway, just a few miles over the posted speed limit, nothing you're going to get pulled over for in normal circumstances. An Officer Reynolds pulls up behind me, flashes his lights, I pull over. And he walks up to the car and he informs me that I have been driving in the left lane entirely too long without passing. And then he asks me if I have any drugs in the car. I say no. He says he smells marijuana and asks if he could search the car. Now, normally I would say no, based on the Fourth Amendment, but I'd already seen his name tag and I had a pretty good idea on where this was going to go. So I got out, he started searching the car. The first thing he did was look in my bag in the front seat, where he found several $1,000s in cash. Well, Officer Reynolds, his eyes just lit up. And he informed me that he was going to be charging me with money laundering and intent to buy narcotics and a few other things on his short list. Or I could just sign this waiver and turn the money over to the city of Tenaha and be on my way. I told him I chose option number 3, and I shot him. So I am hardly a unique victim of this shakedown. Let me tell you just a story or two and give you an idea on what exactly goes on down here. Ron Peterson and his girlfriend were cruising through town and were pulled over by Officer Reynolds for the same reason. He found $6,000 in their car and took them to the police station, where the DA informed them that they would be charged with the aforementioned money laundering again, popular one there, as well as child endangerment. Or they could just sign this paper and give them the money and all would be well and they could go on their way. Well, they weren't going to endanger the custody of their children for $6,000, so they signed. One more. Restaurant owner Dave Angeloni was cruising along the area with his fiancée, his 1-year-old child, and a cook from his restaurant. He was going to an auction where he was going to buy some equipment for his business and had on a large amount of cash to do that with. Well, Officer Reynolds pulls him over again for the same reason. This time he had his pet dog with him, which he said was a very well-trained police dog and a drug-sniffing dog, and he said the dog said there was drugs in the car and he demanded search the car. Well, the folks said okay, because they didn't have any drugs in the car, but they did have $50,000. Conveniently, the DA showed up at the traffic stop and informed them that they would be going to jail. They would be charged with money laundering as well as other multiple felonies. They were separated from their 1-year-old and thrown in jail. And they confiscated the car, the cash, cell phones, a few other items. So after they sat in jail for just a few hours, they were released. Never charged with anything, but their stuff was never returned either. Although the city manager in Tenaha has received numerous complaints about this racket, he has been unwavering in his support for the seizures, as well as saying that the police officers and the DA are doing a fabulous job. This is the racket that is asset forfeiture in America. This is where the government can swoop in and seize your property and keep it, although you were never convicted or usually even charged with a crime. Cash, cars, houses, all stolen by government. That's it. This is the racket that is asset forfeiture in America. This is where the government can swoop in and seize your property and keep it without ever convicting you or usually even charging you with a crime. The corruption here in Tenaha is kind of legendary for its brazenness, but this happens all over the country. Cash, cars, houses, all these things seized, and the owners are usually never even charged with a crime. It's a cash cow for the government, and all these governments benefit from it. And it's wrong on so many levels. I mean, the income tax is theft, and they may eventually get around to turning you in, putting you in jail. Okay. This is the racket that is asset forfeiture in America. This is where the government can swoop in and take your property and keep it, although you are never even charged usually with a crime, much less convicted. The corruption here in Tennessee is kind of legendary for its brazenness, but this happens all over the place. Cash, cars, houses, all taken by the government, even though the owners are usually never even charged with a crime. It's a cash cow for the government, and they love it that way. I mean, it's wrong on so many levels. I mean, the income tax is theft, and they may eventually get around to putting you in jail, but this is brazen, in your face, at the point of a gun robbery. How we came to put up with this, I have no idea. These people are evil, and they deserve to be put in jail. But we all know that that's not going to happen. But at least now you can probably drive through Tennessee, Texas, a little more secure, knowing that your stuff isn't going to be stolen by a bunch of highway robbers. See you next time.